Hi guys, welcome back. No nails today. I just thought we would do a bit of a catch up. I don't know if you guys are interested. I'm not good when it comes to YouTube, okay? I don't know, like some of my comments on another video I did of doing nails with me, let's chat, and like the HPV kind of abnormal cells kind of video. YouTube turned them off, and literally it took me like about 12 hours to figure out how to turn them back on. Oh, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So my washing machine, my washing machine is on, so I am sorry. Let me see if I can just pause. I've paused it. I'm ready. So I thought we would do a little bit of a catch up. I had the hospital yesterday. So if you haven't seen my other video of like when I was doing nails and chatting and things like that, you know, I got a bit paranoid. I was a bit like, oh my god, I received this letter saying, you know, your HPV still hasn't gone, it's still there. You've had it for a few years. Now we need to send you for a colposcopy. I know that's wrong. I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. I can't even read the word. Not the smartest. So yeah, you probably know what I mean, where they have a look up inside with, like, I was going to say a telescope. It's not a telescope. They don't have a look up inside with a telescope. But it's like this big thing, and they don't put it in there. They just have a look, and it's like a 3D image. But my previous video, the comments got turned off, and I was hoping a few people might comment on their experiences, because my mind was racing. My mum did have to have a hysterectomy in her 30s. I am 33. I'll be 34 in June. So because she was at risk of cervical cancer. So I was like, okay, this isn't good. You know, when you first receive that letter, you do panic. Personally, I don't think they put enough information in the letter. So I panicked, you know, I freaking panicked. But then I've done my own research on the NHS website. I don't really read anywhere else, because, you know, if you do that, you're dying, according to the whole of Google. So I just read on the NHS website, and honestly, I'm not worried at all. Well, a smidge, probably like 10%, like a little bit, just because it's in the back of my mind, you know. But anyway, that video, obviously YouTube turned the comments off, so it took me freaking ages to figure out how to turn the comments back on. I did it though, but this was like a couple of days after I already uploaded the video, so I think people had already seen it, and they were like, oh, well, I can't comment anyway, and you're asking people to comment. So yeah, sorry about that. Newbie. Yeah, so what happened was I was diagnosed with HPV. My first ever smear, they didn't test for HPV then. They didn't test for that. They just tested for like abnormal cells. Mine was fine. Was it 5 years later? You had them every 5 years, I think. So let's just say 5 years later. It was either 3 or 5. I went back for my second smear, and that's when it came back that I had HPV, but no abnormal cells. So then I had to go back a year later to have another smear done. HPV still, no abnormal cells. But when you go for your third smear on the ones that you've had HPV, so if you have HPV, then a year later you've still got it, so that's twice. And then on the third year, if you still have HPV, then that's when you, even if you don't have any abnormal cells, they will still send you to the hospital. So on the third one, I had my HPV, but mine also come back with low grade cell changes, or low grade abnormal cell changes. Low grade means really like the lowest, you know. So that was the first letter that I got, and I was like, literally, you have low grade cell changes. We're gonna write you with an appointment, you know, to get you to the hospital so you can have a colposcopy or whatever it is. You know what I mean, where they have a look. So that was the letter I got, and I panicked because that was all it said. I was like, what? That was all it said. I freaked out, like freaked out. I was crying and everything. I am a worrier, and I try not to worry as much anymore. I try and enjoy myself, you know, you get one life. I am trying to do that. But when you get that first letter and that's all it says, I'm just like, okay, you're not going to explain what any of this means? Like, is that it? And then 2 days later, I got another letter, this thick, I'm not even joking you, explaining everything. And I was like, oh, there's nothing really to worry about, because they explained it. But they send the letter out separately, which I think is bad. They should send it together with the first one so it doesn't freak you out. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people worse off than me, so even though I have low grade cell changes, I'm still very lucky. And this is why it's so important to go and have your smears done. Just go and have them done. Don't be embarrassed, you know. You have to have it done. Every woman has it done. So don't be embarrassed, you know. Your dignity is out the window, it's gone. Don't worry, I don't care. So yeah, I had that letter, and then I rang up myself to book in an appointment, and they said that I was really upset, and I was a bit like talking to the receptionist, the one that books it, as if she's some sort of doctor. But she was so nice and so helpful. She was like, please don't worry, this is so normal. Please do not worry. She said, we can get you in for 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks, that's really soon. Does that mean there's something wrong if you want to see me in 2 weeks' time? I thought it would be like months, you know, if it was nothing to worry about. She was like, no, because when it's something like this, we have a 6 weeks like time scale that we need to see you in. She said, but I've got an appointment in 2 weeks if you want to come. And I was like, yeah, all right then, which was yesterday. So my appointment was at 9:30. You can do everything like normal, eat, drink. It's not like surgery, not having no injections or anything like that. I was in and out within 10-15 minutes. That was it. And it does say on the letter that you can be in there for like 20 to 30 minutes, depending on if they need to take a little bit of a biopsy, which is minute. Is the size, the biopsy that they take is the size of a grain of rice. It is in the letter that you would get if you've had this. So yeah, just make sure you read that. But I didn't need to have that done because mine is low grade. But I'm just giving you an update. I'm talking really fast. Yeah, I just thought I'd give you an update, sharing my experiences, and you know, telling everybody you don't need to worry. You have to go because it does save lives doing this. Okay, it does save lives. Yeah, so I went in. You don't have to, but you can take a pad with you because they put iodine, like, up inside, just so they can see everything a little bit better. I think it's called iodide. Am I saying that wrong? I think that's what it's like. It's a dye. It's a dye that they put up inside just so they can see a lot better. And I had a doctor there, like a junior doctor who was training, which I didn't have a problem with because everybody has to start from somewhere. I'm not one of these people that say, no, I don't want anybody else in the room or anything like that, you know. Come on in. Come and have a look. You know, you're training. All of you, 20 of you, come and have a look. You know, you're training. It doesn't bother me. Everybody's got to learn from somewhere. So I had a doctor in there, a junior doctor. She was very young, and about 5 nurses. And honest to God, I was chatting to them so much when I was having it done. I was still led there, and the lady'd finished, but we were chatting about handbags and all this sort of stuff. I didn't even know that she'd done it. Yeah. But so you can take a pad with you because they put iodine up inside. Sometimes, well, afterwards it does come back out, like a brownie. This might be a bit too much information, but like a brownie kind of discharge colour. I didn't have any of that, and I left my pad in the car, so they had to give me one. And I was like, stood up, and I was like holding myself like this, and she was like, are you alright? And I was like, yeah, is it just going to fall out? She was like, what? And I said, if I like stand up, is the iodine just going to like drop out of me? And she was like, no. Honestly, when you're in that situation, you have no dignity anyway, so have a laugh, have a joke. Honestly, they were so nice, like so nice. They chat to you to try and keep you calm. And I didn't really feel anything anyway. Nothing. They do ask you if you want to see your cervix on like the TV, like the monitor kind of thing, because it's 3D. And I was like, no, it's all right. But she was like, you have a lovely pink cervix. And I'm not kidding you. Every time I've had my like smears done, nurses have always commented on my cervix. And I don't know why. They've always been like, you have a lovely pink cervix. It's a shame it's on the inside. So I'm assuming I have a really nice cervix, like a nice looking cervix. Yeah, so you just lie there and you have to take your clothes down, like your trousers and underwear. You can keep your socks on. You can keep all like your top half on, and they give you like this towel just to put over you, and you have to put your legs in stilts. And they pop a speculum, is that right? Thing inside, and then they just have a look on the camera. Now, I got really confused when she was explaining to me what she'd seen and all this sort of stuff. I wish I'd asked, but I didn't, because I'm that sort of person. I'm just like, yeah, okay, bye. I don't ask questions, because if I start asking questions, I won't stop. I would be like, can you write it all down for me? Can you send it in an email so I don't forget? So I don't ask questions. I just nod my head kind of thing. But she said that there was 2 different types of cells on my cervix. One of them is somewhere else, the hood of the cervix, and it's flat. I don't know. And then there's another one, and I'm pretty sure she said something about them being not close together. They were quite far apart, so she couldn't really see very well. For some reason, she couldn't really... Don't know what that was. Massive bang. Yeah, for some reason she said that she couldn't really see them very well, and I think it was because the cells weren't really close together. They were like quite far apart, or maybe like 2 different places on my cervix. That's the only thing that's concerning me now, is the fact that they're 2 different type of cells. I did say to her, does 2 different types of cells mean they are different from each other? And she said, yeah. She said, it's nothing to worry about. She said, I just can't see. She said, so in a year's time, you will be asked to go back to your doctors and have another smear. She said, you need to ring them and tell them that we want to do it here at the hospital, because then I can do another colposcopy or whatever it is. She said, I can do that as well. She said, so we might be able to get a better look. And my first question, the only question that I asked was, does it mean that because they're 2 different cells, does it actually mean that they're different from each other? And she said, yes. The second question that I asked is, from now until when my next smear is, which will be 12 months time from yesterday, does that mean anything? Like, can it change into cancer by then? And she said no. Straight flat answer, no. Do not worry yourself. It takes about 10 to 20 years for cell changes to turn into cancer, so do not worry yourself. She said most people with HPV get rid of it themselves around 2 years. She said, so if you do get rid of the HPV, sometimes the abnormal cell changes will disappear, because they are caused from the HPV. They're not caused from anything else. They are caused from the HPV. So when the HPV goes, sometimes the abnormal cells goes as well, majority of the time. This is what she's told me anyway. But she was like, you don't need to panic yourself, you know, don't spend the next 12 months worrying or anything like that. She said, you're absolutely fine. She said, but in 12 months time, if you still have HPV and you still have these cell changes, we will have to keep you under our care. We won't be able to like discharge you. We would have to keep you under our care, which I'm absolutely fine with. But that's the one thing that's worrying me, is what does 2 different types of cells mean on your cervix? I know that it means they're different from each other. So does that mean one is low grade and one's high grade? Usually if you have high grade, they will do a biopsy and probably cut away some of your cervix to get rid of those cells, and you're fine. But does that what it means? One's low grade, one's high grade? But she couldn't see properly. She couldn't really see them very well because they weren't close enough together. they weren't close enough like this, they were far away. So I'm worried that one of them could be high grade, and she couldn't see properly well enough. I don't know, I have no idea. But, you know, obviously they type it all up and put it on your NHS records and all this sort of stuff. So I'm going to give it till tomorrow, and then I'll give my doctors a call just so I can kind of get a bit of information of what that actually means. Because I wish I asked. I just don't want to keep asking loads of questions, because people are like, oh my God, shut up, woman. Because I have a habit of like repeating the question if I don't understand it, and then I want to write it all down, because if I forget, I start Googling, and that's the worst thing for me. So yeah, it was just a little bit of an update. You don't have to worry if you've got a letter saying you have HPV, no abnormal cell changes, because it's most likely going to go. Mine obviously didn't go, and the number one thing of what causes, this is what she told me yesterday. She was asking me questions like, are you allergic to anything? Do you smoke? All this kind of things. We were talking about HPV and the number one reason why it won't go. And the one, I don't know if anybody's aware, but the one main reason why HPV won't go on its own is, well, there's no cure for it anyway, is actually smoking. That is the number one thing why HPV doesn't go. If you smoke, it just won't go away. It just won't go away. So remember that, because this is what she told me. It's not just they're just trying to get you to stop smoking, I don't know, for health benefits. It genuinely is, because HPV won't go if you smoke, or majority of the time it won't go if you smoke. I'm really badly sunburned on my back, like really bad, and it's itching. Oh God, I look weird. Yeah, so please make sure you go and have your smears done. It's really, really, really important. You don't have to be embarrassed or anything like that. You really, really, really don't. I thought there was something wrong, because the last, like, and this might really genuinely be too much information. It really, really might be. And I'm sorry if it is, but I'm just being real, I'm being honest. I am a freak when it comes to washing my body, okay? I have a bath or a shower every night or every day, without fail. Without fail, right? I'm a very, very clean person with washing my body, and, you know, I will use, I don't know, loads of these, like, really strong scented shower gels, especially from Lush. And instead of just, you know, I wash my body, but then when it comes to down below, I wash down there, obviously, as most women do. But I don't just wash a little bit down there, I wash a bit too much down there. And every time I do that, I was getting thrush, which is a yeast infection. And I would get, so this is the only thing I would get embarrassed about, was going to the doctors, because they were like, yeah, you had thrush a few months ago, like 2 months ago. I'm like, yeah, I've got it again. And I genuinely was so embarrassed, like, do they think I don't wash? So I was going to the doctors, and I was seeing the doctors, and they were having a look, and they were like, yeah, you've got thrush. What are you using to wash yourself with? And I told her, and she was like, you shouldn't actually be using anything down below unless it's Sanix, which is a pH level balancer or something. So I bought some Sanix, which is an absolute rip-off. Like a bottle like this is about £5. And I bought that 2 months ago, and I haven't had thrush since. But she actually said to me, you shouldn't wash at all down below. Hot water, that's it. You do not wash down below. She said, because what happens, she said, even the slightest bit, even if you just wash on the top part, the slightest bit will seep up inside, and it kills off the good bacteria, and you're left with bad bacteria. Everybody has bad and good bacteria up inside. They kind of counteract each other, so you don't get thrush. But when a tiny bit of soap or shower gel gets up inside, it kills off the good bacteria, and you're left with bad bacteria, and that causes thrush. Thank you very much. Honestly, I'm like a doctor. I know, I read a lot on the internet, so I get paranoid. Yeah, so that was, because I kept getting that, I was like, there's something wrong, there's something wrong, there's something wrong. Like, I've got my smear soon. I keep getting thrush for the last like 6 months. Like, what's going on? Yeah, so oh, I thought that was a spider. Make sure you're not washing too much down below, or if you are, only use Sanex or something that has like a pH balancer, because you don't want to be having thrush all the time. Honestly, I feel sorry for the people at Boots where I kept getting my prescription. I bet they thought, you dirty person, not washing. Honestly, I get really, really, really embarrassed, because you shouldn't have thrush that much, but it is because I wash too much. And since I've been using Sanex, I use like my Lush on my body, but not my bits. And I've just been using Sanex, and it's been fine, been absolutely fine. So yeah, it was just a little bit of an update. So I'll go back to the hospital in 12 months' time. Obviously, if anything kind of weird happens, I don't know, like my periods are a little bit wonky or whatnot, then I've just got to let them know. They haven't said that, but I will let them know just in case. Yes, it was just a little bit of an update. I'd like it to know if anybody else has had a similar situation, and how you've dealt with it and what was the outcome. Leave a comment below. So see you on my next video. Bye.